Food pantries across Chicago, they're struggling to meet an increased need for their services as higher prices continue to drive up demand. Some groups are also dealing with a shrinking pool of volunteers. So how are food banks getting by in our area? And how are other organizations jumping in to help? Joining us now to discuss is Alici McNeal. She's the Vice President of Community Day Services at S. McKinley Community Services. Hi, Alici. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Sasha. How are you? Good afternoon.
Doing well. Glad you could join us. I want to talk about your organization. It's recently held its first food pantry in Englewood after seeing this increased need here in the area. Can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely, Sasha. Thank you for bringing me on today to discuss that. Yes, we at S. McKinley, we identified that it was a huge need in the Englewood and its neighboring communities when it came to food. There are a lot of barriers in the community of Englewood and its neighboring communities, and at S. McKinley, we identified that, so we knew that it had to be something that had to be done, which prompted us to host this food pantry.
How did people from the community react?
They were, to say it mildly, were ecstatic. They definitely knew that this was something that needed to be done. And more importantly, we heard different messages about how they appreciated S. McKinley coming in, stepping in, and providing a vital resource, which is food. And so they were really, really appreciative that S. McKinley addressed that need so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you struggle to get volunteers to help staff the pantry?
No, we did not. Here at S. McKinley, we have a full range of services. So we use our actual staff to be the volunteers for the services, and also where it was hosted at. That is one of our community day program sites where we cater to the developmentally disabled population, and we have other areas within S. McKinley with our employment services, child development, behavioral health. So it was an entire team effort that stepped in to volunteer for this event.
You think other organizations could learn from that model?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think it could help with the increased demand for food assistance?
Yes, Sasha, I do agree. Yes, I do think so. We have to take this as a whole community approach. And you're spot on about us learning and utilizing what we're learning from each other to better our communities.
Do you plan to host more food pantries in the future?
Yes, that is in discussion here at S. McKinley. We are having an internal discussion. And we're hoping to maybe be able to provide this during the upcoming months here in the winter season, but it's definitely an internal discussion that is happening currently.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I can hear your passion for this work in your voice, Alici. Why did you get involved?
Yes, Sasha, yes, very passionate about it. I, myself personally, grew up in a community that is very similar to Englewood. So I know firsthand what some of those disparities can be when you have to decide between if you're going to have to receive your medications, if you're going to have to put gas in your car, or if you're just going to have to be able to pay your light bill. And then on top of that, you have food. So you have to make some hard decisions based on just things that maybe someone else might not see as a challenge. So I know firsthand what those are, and to just come to an organization like S. McKinley and seeing how much they understand what some of those disparities is, it's very it's very refreshing, and it's also just a tool that we're just using to make sure that we get this food into these communities that which they are needed in.
Well, before I let you go, Alici, tell us how else S. McKinley Community Services supports the surrounding community.
Yes, definitely, Sasha. So S. McKinley, as I was speaking, we are a 102-year-old agency. So we've been around for quite some time, in which we have been in the community. We have a behavioral health unit. We have foster care. We provide employment services. We provide child development. And also, as I was touching on, the community day services for our developmentally disabled population. So S. McKinley has definitely been around for quite some time, and we have a host of programs that are available for the community.
This is Reset. I'm Sasha-Ann Simons, and we've been speaking with Alici McNeal with Ada S. McKinley Community Services, and we're talking about the increased need for food assistance here in Chicago. Alici, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yes, thank you so much, Sasha. Thank you.
Let's turn now to a food bank and food pantry in the area. McKinley Lee is the Director of Communication at the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Hi, McKinley. Welcome to Reset.
Hi, Sasha.
Also with us is Greg Trotter, spokesperson for Nourishing Hope. That's a food pantry near Chicago's West Loop. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Sasha.
McKinley, I'll start with you. Tell us about what the Greater Chicago Food Depository is and how it works with other food banks in the city.
Yeah, sure. So we are basically Chicago's food bank. And what we do is we are at the center of a network of more than 700 community partners across the city of Chicago and Cook County. That includes food pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters. And what we do is that we provide the food to those community partners to get out to our neighbors in need.
How have you seen the community's needs change recently?
Yeah. So we have definitely seen an increased community need. What we're hearing from our network partners is that that inflation and the rising cost of items like food and gas is negatively affecting families and their budgets, and it's getting harder and harder for them to put food on the table, and they're basically having to make really difficult choices from, buying groceries, or do they buy school supplies, which is a priority during the summer right now.
Yeah. Greg, let's bring you in here. Talk about how Nourishing Hope has fared in the past month with, as we've been discussing, this rising cost of pretty much everything.
Yeah, so it's been a very challenging few months for sure. Visits to our food programs are up about 40% compared to the same time last year. Which we see is definitely like a direct result of the soaring prices of food and gas and pretty much everything. Since the start of our fiscal year, which was April 1st, we've also served more than 5,000 people who are completely new to us, who have never turned to us before. So we're seeing a lot of people who are turning to us for assistance for the first time, and a lot of families with children, which is, of course, alarming. And so it's been very challenging. And so more people are turning to us. And at the same time, our own costs are up. Our own food and gas expenses are up significantly. Donations are down a little bit. We need more volunteers. So it's been a very challenging time.
Yeah, you mentioned, you've seen that increase in folks turning up. Have there been any moments, Greg, where you've had to turn folks away because you just didn't have enough donations or not enough people to help?
No, we haven't gotten to that point,
okay.
And I don't think that we will. But it's just, we're having to spend a lot more on food, for example, because food donations are down. So more people are turning to us, so we need more food, but it's also costing more. And we're getting fewer food donations from grocery retail partners and food manufacturers just because of, what's happening in the supply chain. So it's creating sort of a financially stressful situation. But I know that we're not alone. A lot hunger relief organizations all over the country are dealing with similar challenges. Our numbers in terms of the people we're serving are really sort of trending back towards those the levels that we were seeing in summer of 2020, which is very concerning. And so I'm very grateful for this conversation we're having, because I don't think that many people understand just how dire it is right now.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of folks are aware, Greg. What do you find your organization needs the most? What would you say?
Well, we definitely need more volunteers, and our volunteer needs have sort of grown and changed because we recently rebranded. We were founded in 1970, long known as Lakeview Pantry. We rebranded in May as Nourishing Hope, and we're serving the entire city. And so we're growing our home delivery program to serve older adults and people with disabilities on the south and west side. And we're also growing our online market partnerships in south and west side neighborhoods. And so our greatest volunteer area of need would be home delivery drivers, but also volunteers for our food pantry that we operate in Humboldt Park in partnership with La Casa Norte. So, anybody who's looking to get involved, it's just good medicine for all. When volunteering, helping others, if you're feeling overwhelmed by things going on in the world, it's such a great thing that you can do to help the community and also lift your own spirits. So I would say volunteering and donations are both just tremendously important right now.
Manyi, we just heard a few moments ago about how Ada S. McKinley Community Services is stepping up to help meet the need in Englewood. A few grocery stores in that area, they've closed, right? Or they're committing to close very soon. So how do you see that affecting how much more people may depend on resources from the Greater Chicago Food Depository?
Yeah, I mean, it is an issue, and we are doing the best that we can. We have a number of food pantries and partner agencies in that area to help, and we really just certainly encourage all residents to come and seek help from their food pantries, their local food pantries. We are really... What we're doing is we really are adjusting our strategies to ensure that we continue to meet the community need right now.
How so?
Way that we are sourcing. So usually how we get our food to provide to our network partners is that we usually get food through food donations or food rescue, and food also from the federal government through the USDA. But we also purchase food, as Greg mentioned, thanks to donor support. But what we are doing is right now is we are spending twice as much on food as we were 2 years ago. Last year alone in fiscal year 2022, we spent $35 million on food purchasing alone, and that was a 55% increase compared to what was spent in fiscal year 2021. Yeah, and actually triple what we spent in fiscal year 2020.
That's incredible. Greg, you just made a very passionate plea for volunteers. Do you know why there's been this shortage? Like, have you heard specifically why from maybe past or current volunteers?
Well, I think that it's just there's different factors. I think it can be hard to ask someone to come be a volunteer home delivery driver when gas is more than $5 a gallon. So, I definitely think just the rising prices and everything. There's typically a little bit of a seasonal drop-off in the summertime for volunteers because people are going on trips, doing different things. But, we've seen a little bit more of a drop-off than usual, and we just need more. We need more volunteers because we're serving more people, and we're growing as an organization to serve more people throughout the city.
Manyi, how much does the Greater Chicago Food Depository depend on volunteers?
Oh, all the time. Volunteer support is essential to our daily work, especially as more and more people are turning to anti-hunger organizations for help. So we also typically see in the summer, it usually fluctuates and we get a fewer number of volunteers because of people's vacation schedules and things like that. We believe a big reason for this, though, is really due to the pandemic right now, as the world is still trying to get back to normal, whatever that is. But a big portion of our volunteers are from corporation groups. And I think many of the corporation groups right now are still on remote and hybrid work schedules. And I think that might be affecting some of the volunteer turnout that we have.
Well, for people who are listening to us right now and maybe they'll find that volunteering their time is difficult, as we've talked about. Is there any other way that they can get involved? Manyi? We're always looking for volunteers, as you mentioned. We're also, the other great way to help if you want to join efforts to end hunger is to donate, to donate money so that we can ensure that our network is stocked and that we are buying the food that we need, that they need. And also to advocate for more food to be available through programs like the Emergency Food Assistance Program. Same answer from you, Greg. I know you mentioned earlier donations are a big one.
Yeah, honestly, money is the most helpful. With food and gas prices being what they are, and we're buying so much more food than we usually do, I think the answer for any hunger relief organization is going to be money is the most helpful. But, if whether it's volunteering or donating, it's just they're both so needed right now. So People can, if you're interested, find out opportunities at nourishinghopeshy.org. But whatever organization, hunger relief organization in your community that you want to support, it's all needed right now. We're in a tough time.
Greg Trotter is with Nourishing Hope, formerly Lakeview Pantry, and Man Yi is with the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Thank you both for joining us. Thanks for listening. I'm Sasha-Ann Simons. We've got more for you on the podcast, WBEZ's Reset, wherever you listen.